So what are the three main points that you're standing for?
Interesting. I guess the first thing that made me want to stand was there seemed to be a disconnect between Wanaka locals and the community board and the council, and really wanted to see what I could do to get the communication channels working better. That would be number one. And then as part of that was just dealing with the issues. I guess initially started earlier this year with the Wanaka Town Centre Master Plan, and I became quite heavily involved in that and got appointed the chairman of the Town Centre Business Group and spent a lot of time gathering their thoughts and then going to the planners and talking to them about what we could do going forward to make sure that we were listened to. That actually worked out really well. Number three, I guess those were the two main points really. Number three would be just really to see what I can do to influence what happens in Wanaka in the next 3 years.
And what's your position on growth in the region?
Another nice question. It's inevitable. It'll be really good if we can have some sort of influence on how it's managed in terms of infrastructure. I mean, there's lots of things that are that need fixing: water quality, sewerage, all those sorts of things. Do we have too many tourists? Well, there are businesses in town that rely solely on them. We rely partly on them, and I think as long as we manage the way that it grows and we don't get overwhelmed, then I think there's a potential for growth not to be a bad thing.
And you've sort of answered it, but should tourism continue to be our main industry?
I think it almost has to be. But again, as I said, managed growth of tourists is obviously the best way forward. We want to make sure we're getting the right numbers at the right time of year and not just being overwhelmed where we can't cope as a town in terms of infrastructure, staffing and housing and all those sorts of things as well.
And how do you think our airport should be expanded, if at all?
There's so much going on in the media at the moment. A press release yesterday saying that Dunedin and Invercargill were going to get on board, and then this morning reading that saying actually that's just sharing facilities and that sort of thing, and it's like, that's taking that out of the equation a bit. I don't see any need for an international airport would be the baseline for that. I think a domestic airport would be great. I know there are plenty of people here, including myself. I've got family in Christchurch, and if I can fly to Christchurch, then I would do it more often than I do by flying out of Queenstown. So yeah, no to an international airport would be my strongest comment.
And tell us a little bit about yourself and what sort of makes you emotional about the community.
Well, I've been here for 15 years and owned Ritual Cafe for just over 12, nearly 13, and I get a lot of people, even before elections and just in between times, just talking about what's happened to Wanaka over the last 10 to 15 years, and the good things and the bad, and opposing views so many times. So I guess what I'm trying to look at doing is amalgamating those into some sort of middle ground whereby we can actually achieve some of the things we need to go ahead.